Testing, testing. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I guess this is why life sucks so much. Oh man, there hasn't been sound this entire time? Oh, madre de Dios. I honestly don't know what to say. I don't know what to do now. All right. I'm sorry. Maybe in the YouTube editor I'm going to have to cut out the whole beginning of this. So, hi guys. I don't have a lot of time and now I have so much less time. Rivet Wars released the tabletop sim version and it looks very interesting and great, and I've been playing around with it, and I was going to play around with it today, and I was just going through the book. I said it looks great. I'm probably going to print this out and bring it to work so I can comb through it. I was just talking about how much I love the demo setup, that it's first thing in the rule book, that is like, this is how you set up a demo, this is how you teach people to play, this is what to look at from a scenario. It kind of tells everything. Like it's really a really good idea. And then right next to it you have the standard game setup. Oh man, I am so embarrassed and so much like I don't have time for this. So here it has that. I was literally just talking about, I find it very interesting that they restrict what units you can use. So I wonder if this is for every scenario or if this is just for the demo, because it's a very smart idea to restrict things for the demo. And I'm going to stop that. I'm going to have to keep going. I don't have a whole lot of time, and I just can't believe I didn't check my sound. All right, battlefield setup. Can be a multiple. Yeah, so we've got a tile is the big thing, a square, 2. Well, this is a grid, so did they change that wording? So now it's a square? Okay. So 2 is a square now, not a grid. 3 is a space. Okay. Open ground, any square on a tile that does not include terrain. Okay. Tile ID, this is for use in constructions. Yep. But you don't have more examples. You don't have, so you have open ground. This is weird and confusing. So you want to make note also, one, this should be more transparent to make clear that you're like, this is wide open. You should also have an example with a strategic objective or bunker or tank trap or something that's in it to be like, this is not open ground. Also, if you're showing things of the board, you might want to pull up your trenches. Gameplay. Winning the game. Mission cards. Victory points. Good, good, good. Round sequence. Round setup. First player's turn. Second player's turn. Remove the leftmost Rivet Wars token from the line of mission cards. Don't remove a Rivet Wars token during the first round of the game. Players are now ready to take their turns. Okay. So the first turns are always open-ended, and then you slowly start removing things. So this is kind of like before the card phase. So this is kind of nice. Each turn is broken up into multiple phases that are performed in the described order. Once a player has performed all of their phases in order, it's the next player's turn. So control phase, okay. Deployment phase, combat phase, movement phase, and a wrap-up phase. That'll be very important for action cards and mission cards that tell you things in what phase. So there's now 5 phases to a turn instead of 3. During the control phase, the players takes control of any strategic objective they currently have units on and draw action cards. To resolve the card phase, follow these steps. Discard any action cards from your hand. Draw an action card. During the first turn, the player skips this step. So you don't get an action card to start off. Take control of any strategic objectives in squares that contain your units. So, during the control phase, the player takes control of any strategic objectives they currently have and draw action cards. To resolve the card phase. So this could trip people up. I don't think you should have this wording card phase if there's no card phase anymore. I think you probably typoed that. You probably want that to be control phase. Just to keep this, because there's no card phase anymore, unless you're breaking up the control phase, which is another issue. I don't like that. Maximum hand size. A player can never have more than 3 action cards in their hand. The player is required to draw additional action cards beyond their hand limit. They draw cards up to their hand limit. Oh, so you don't draw past, pick them, and then end with the end result. Very, very interesting. By the way, look at that art. Isn't that great? That art is great. So I definitely think this should be cleaned up. Anatomy of action cards. Action cards are cards that can be... Oh, I need to go back to my live stream thing. Anatomy of cards. Action cards are cards that can be used. Action card name, card narrative, timing, what phase, which there are now 5 phases. Action card effect. The effect playing the card. Controlling strategic objectives. If you have any of your units on a strategic objective, you may place a flag token in that square to control it. Whilst you have a flag token on the strategic objective, you capture it during the wrap-up phase without any units on the objective. To take a controlled strategic objective from your opponent, you will need to capture it by having one of your units on it at the end of your turn. So, how are they breaking this up? So when you enter the grid, the end of your turn in the wrap-up phase, do you remove a flag? And then at the beginning of your turn, in the round sequence, you add a flag? And then at the end of the round, that's when points are counted. I don't know if that's... Okay. Well, that's going to elongate gameplay for sure. Controlling a strategic objective can also have additional effects depending on the scenario being played. Each strategic objective can only have 1 flag token on it. Yep. Interesting. Okay, so we will keep looking at that further down. So deployment, very easy. Gain deployment points and rivets as indicated. These are spent during to deploy. Gain deployment points and rivet tokens as indicated in the scenario. During the first round, the first player doesn't gain rivet tokens and gains only half of the list. Wait. Gain deployment points and rivet tokens as indicated in the scenario. During the first round, the first player doesn't gain rivet tokens and gains only half of the listed deployment points. Rounding up. Whoa, why? Why? That's a very weird cap to put on the very first move of the game. That's going to Is this how they're accounting for the change in how scoring works? To try to make that fair? This is going to really... okay. Select a unit to deploy. Pay its associated deployment points and rivet cost. Deploy that unit into the battlefield at any of your deployment squares. Repeat step 2 and 3 until deployment points have been used, or you no longer wish to deploy units. Any unspent deployment points are discarded at the end of the phase. Unused rivets remain with the player and can be used during a subsequent turn. So not a lot has changed here, except for this weird handicap for the first player, the player to go first in the first round. This is weird. This is weird. Like, it's one of those situations where I'd be like, oh my gosh, please do anything to give the Blight a chance to win. But if you're the Blight and you're working a normal 4-1 Rivet turn, then what you're looking at is this would be half rounded up. So this would be, you'd get 2 deployment points on the first turn of the game. You really need that to deploy Panzerfaust or to deploy like a Schlitten to help against the riflemen that are obviously coming out in the first turn. Like, this is severely hampering. Now, if it was both units only got 2, like they were both hampered right at the start to kind of ease you into the first turn and kind of get a sense of what people are deploying, that would be a little different. But, man, this is a weird rule. This is a weird rule. I don't know if this is, again, because they changed up how capturing works. I just don't know. We've got some people in the live stream. If you want to give your 2 cents on that in the chat, if you feel comfortable with that. Am I just being crazy? All right. So, anatomy of cards. I'm not going over this. I'm sorry if you're new. This is important to learn about the cards. Heroes now have a Hamilton star. That's fine. Hero will be available as both a plug and a different unit type, such as infantry or cavalry. You may deploy each of these heroes once per game, but both of them can't be on the battlefield at the same time. Oh, that's a new and interesting rule. So you may deploy a hero, say, unit, get that out on the field, and then when it gets taken off and destroyed, you can then redeploy them as a plug. That will get more uses out of heroes, because sometimes there's a clear winner of when a hero must be deployed as the unit themselves. But the whole point of the heroes is that they only go out once per game, period. And once they're taken out, that's kind of like, oh, they're taken out. This is a very interesting way. It'll get more use out of the hero plugs, but it's just very interesting how they're going to. This is very interesting. So now you can deploy heroes as well as their plug forms, just not both out on the field at the same time. So you can't have twins out in the field. Plugs are add-on units that can be attached to other units that have available plugs, granting them powerful abilities or weapons. Yep. When a plug is deployed, it is placed on any available plug belonging to a unit in your territory. So this hasn't changed. The unit the plug is attached to gains all the abilities and weapons listed on the plug unit. The plug is considered part of the attached unit, activating and being destroyed with it. Correct. The half-point mana resource is a pretty standard amongst many games. Not sure how relevant it is here, but it's only the first turn, so they don't demolish player 2 out of the gate. Well, most scenarios, how they are designed, that would be very difficult. If you design a Rivet Wars scenario where someone can deploy, say, on duckboards and immediately runner up to a strategic objective and get that immediate advantage, that's pretty poorly designed. Again, I just think long term. You know what? I guess we're seeing enough changes in the rules right now that I have no idea how this is going to affect the game. I am clean. I can have as many opinions as I want based on the old game. We're seeing a few changes where I don't know how this is going to affect the game. I guess we'll see. And let's roll into the combat phase and see if that has changed at all. Once combat will activate one square at a time, so that's now grid, so one grid at a time. I'm seeing a few inconsistencies. Jump around scoring, which was back in winning the game and in the cards. So, victory points. During Game of Rivet Wars, player will score victory points by controlling strategic objectives and killing certain enemy units. Whenever a player scores any victory points, move their score token. All right, so they're trying to... I'm going to go off on a tangent. I'm sorry. They're trying to make this game more family-friendly. You might not want to use the wording killing certain enemy units. You might want to put in collecting bounties on certain enemy units to keep that family friendliness that you're trying to have in. Obviously, we're killing them, but since most of those units will be heroes that can be redeployed as plugs or vice versa, I guess it's not killing. So I guess you're keeping that family friendly padding about what's going on. If a player reaches the required mission cards, blah 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 blah. All right, so control phase. Anatomy of cards, deployment phase. No, this is where it is. So during the control phase, the players will take control of any strategic objectives they currently have units on and draw action cards. To resolve the card phase, aka control phase, that'll need to be updated, follow these steps in order. You may discard an action card from your hand, draw an action card during the first turn, take control of any strategic objectives in squares that contain your units. So you won't be able to put up your flag until the start of your turn in the first phase, the control phase. And then I bet you there's stuff in the wrap-up phase or the movement phase about taking over other people's thing. I don't remember where I read controlling of strategic objectives. If you have any of your units on a strategic objective, you may place a flag token on that square to control it. Whilst you have a flag token on the strategic objective, you capture it during the wrap-up phase without any units on the objective. This might also want to change its wording because it's just you also capture it when there are no units on the objective. As long as your flag is there and hasn't been removed, you capture strategic objectives. Unless they are trying to push a new gameplay where you put up a flag and then leave the objective, which would be weird. That's a weird... Because filling up an objective with guys is a strategy, and trying to block them from being able to move because you can't enter a square with enemy units. And that's where the flat grid attack, which are, I think now have changed to blast attacks. Is that right here? Did they talk about that somewhere? 10A? We'll probably have to see that later. In the combat phase. So it's really confusing. So do you remove their flag after you move, like jump in, and then you have to wait to the start of your turn to place your own flag, and then the end of the round in order to capture it? It's like there's a few changes, a few changes. Yeah. I need to get a little farther, I think. So, combat. Has combat changed? Select a square to activate it. That's a grid now. I mean, it's now a square. That used to be the grid. So, select a grid. Check any buffs to units in that square. So, you're checking for, like, defensive buffs, like bolster defense. I don't think you need to mention that. Buffs are kind of like an all the time if they're relevant. But, you know... Sure, check it. Select a unit in that square. That unit may either use an action listed on its card or make any attacks on its card. Oh, so you're selecting your square to attack. You're checking the buffs. You're making an attack. Repeat this step until you have activated every unit in the square. Yep, so... You activate a square, you can't just jump around and say, all my infantry fight first and then everyone else. You gotta choose your squares wisely. Repeat this process until you have activated every square. Yep, got it. Attack sequence. Choose a target square within the unit's range that doesn't contain any friendly units. So, according to this, this helps with the rule. There was gas rule questions where can you target empty grids? This leaves that open. Yes, you can target empty grids if that's something you want, and your attack does an additional thing. Using the square order reference card, so this is like the grid attack order. Identify the enemy unit and attack. Identify the enemy unit the attack will target. Okay. Woo! Woo! Check any buffs on the targeted unit. Yep. Make sure that they have all the stuff. You are correct, Mr. Hill. That is 100% correct. That's why I'm looking into, again, what they intend with their words, because they are trying to make this really clear in the rules without being super complicated. Roll dice. 5 or a 6. The attack hits, causes a point of damage to the enemy. Yep. If the active unit's attack line has more than one attack, or if it possesses multiple attack lines, repeat steps 1 to 4 until all the attacks have been made. Got it. Boop. Checking the range. So this is probably telling us that they only get one diagonal, right? Range equal value. So this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Yep. So you can attack all these things. This is good. You can't attack basically all these squares. 1, 2. All right, good. So it's showing all the squares you can attack and all the things you can't. Man, these look good. Takar's going to have to step up his game for the scenario editor, because he had all this stuff in it as well. Things like tutorial rules. All right, making an attack. Make an attack unit. Look at some stuff. Rocket Cycle's about to attack. So some examples to help in gameplay. Oh, I do not have a lot of time. Attack symbols. All right, this is something I wanted to know. Attack symbols. Certain units will have symbols in their attack profile denoting special attack types. Chain attack. When attack hits a target, attack the next unit in the square attack order. Continue making attacks until an attack misses or all units in the square have been attacked. Blast attack. Attack every unit in the square. Gas attack. After this attack, place a face-up gas token on the square that was attacked. All right, so we know all these, no changes. Same square attack. When this unit makes this attack, all of the attacks must target enemy units in the same square. That should probably go up here, shouldn't it? Oh, this is all gas token things and stats for the gas left behind. Okay, that's fine. Buffs, deviation, a blast. Yeah, we're still going to have to... Some of us older Rivet Wars people are going to have old terminology in our heads for years, because we've been doing this for decades. So flat grid attack is still something I'm going to go to. But, yeah, certain attacks, units, action cards will require deviation. So now it's a deviation die. Actions. Some units will have actions listed on the back of their card, designated by action, listed by the effect. Instead of attacking, a unit can use one of these actions on its card. Thank you for stipulating that. Actions replace attacks, not the movement phase, unless stipulated otherwise. So that is very good that this is in the rules, that your action replaces your attack. All right, finally we're talking about movement. Let's talk about movement phase order. Select a square to activate. Select any buffs, blah, blah, blah. Going to a square. Rearrange units within each other, placing them in whatever order you want. Moving, when a unit can move up to a number of squares, blah, 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 blah. One diagonal. Look at all the places he can move, but not in the tank traps and not in these places. You, Steamforged Games, you should remove this line, because he can move here to get here. But you can't pass through squares with enemy units. Otherwise, what's the point of the Nemoan special ability that lets you do this exact thing and jump units? So more accurately, you want to show that this line comes down to here and over to here, and not through these enemy grids. You also probably want to place some blue into here, and maybe not in here because it's full. So you want to be like, oh, this is full, so we can't land here. But it can move over here. But you can also move one. You don't have to move your max each time. Unless you're changing that. Check any buffs, units, to squares. Repeat the step up to its movement value. No, good. Woo! I was like, you're making them all have programmed if they have to move their max amount. So yeah, you probably want these blue as well to denote that he can also land here. Maybe little arrows halfway through. That's like you can land here, you can land here. But yeah, this line you definitely want to remove and go boop, boop. Wrap up phase. Check victory conditions. Wrap up phase. Focus. Capture strategic objectives. Capture any strategic objectives you currently have units or flag tokens in and gain 1 victory point for each strategic objective. Remove enemy flag tokens from any strategic objective you have now captured. Certain scenarios will provide additional benefit for capturing an objective, so be sure to check the scenario brief. So, gaining points via scenario now involve, and let's assume it's captured by an enemy. It now involves moving into it in the movement phase, and nothing happens. Being there in it at the end of the movement phase to get to the wrap-up phase. Remove the enemy flag. Survive the enemy's whole next turn. At the start of your turn, do you have guys in it? Yes. Add your flag. Then, at the end of your turn, get the point for having said flag. Continue to survive and keep your flag up, and you continue to get points for controlling it at the end of your turn. So this is going to elongate gameplay a little bit and really be hard to cap. Well, it's easy to at least remove the points of an enemy. It's going to be really hard to stay in it long enough to keep getting points over and over and over again. But this is just going to increase gameplay time. But I'm very interested. It does feel a little bit more quote-unquote realistic. A lot of people didn't like Rivet Wars. Basically, at the end of your turn, count the flags. That is the easiest way to do it and keep things moving fast-paced so you can get multiple games in. Because it was supposed to be fast-paced. So, a lot of the wording and confusion really added up in the old rules of what... Because, I mean, they said score, capture, hold. Like, they had all these different terms for basically have a flag on a strategic objective. So it was really confusing of when you count things and when you hold it and when this is. At one point, I think even in my own video, at one point you could basically get 2 points in your first turn for capturing it, and then at the end of your turn, holding it. It was really weird. But this now gives a feel of the more back and forth of you can't just move in, run in, and then like immediately put up your flag and score. It's like you kind of have to hold it for a little bit of time. The enemy gets a chance to beat you off before you get points, but also still needs to invest in getting people up into that objective and then holding that a whole another round again before putting their flag up. Like, it's got that kind of tug back and forth. It'll be very interesting to see. This one here, yeah, we talked about that. They're probably going to have to change this because you can't jump a unit, a square that has enemies in it. He can get to the square by going this way and down, but he's not going to be able to do this way shown. Otherwise, the Nemoan special ability that we just saw, the flyer, that basically allows them to jump grids like a knight in chess, that doesn't make sense and is not special. So they'll probably have to update this. I'll be sure to send them this video, but I'm also going to probably make a comment about this in the Discord and on the Facebook group, that this should probably be adjusted. Alright, special rules. Let's talk about this for a bit. Many units have special rules. These rules are detailed in the back of each unit card. Bonuses. Certain special rules have a bonus number shown in the bracket, highlighting the rule. You can have different levels of bonus. The higher the number, the larger the bonus provided by the rule. If a model ends up with multiple instances of a special rule bonus, the bonus numbers are added together. Yes, please. I just had to talk about this. For example, Vertical Tank already has Tank Shock, and then General Patson gets put who has Tank Shock 1, rather than resolving Tank Shock 1 twice, where you kind of just keep bowling through people. They are cumulative and treated as Tank Shock 2. So that is pretty nice. And you're able to get 2 dice. I mean, that's what's intended. I just had this discussion with someone about Dash. Actually, that video could be coming out soon. So, well, not soon. I have to get things this weekend. I have to get more footage from the second camera. The rule doesn't have a bonus number. Only resolve the rule once regarding the number of times it appears. Common special rules. Bolster defense X. When this unit is attacked, the attacker reduces the number of dice they roll by X to a minimum of 1. Immunity to gas. They take no damage from gas. Precision X. This adds X to the dice result when attacking. That's pretty good. Rapid Assault X. During the combat phase, this unit may move up to X squares before attacking. If it does, it can't move in the movement phase. Let's check out if they did the Parman fix. Where is he? Parman's not in this one. I don't know if they did the Parman fix yet. Runner gains extra stuff when it begins on a trench. There's that wording. Sniper ignores square target order when attacking. This is one of the sadder ones. I don't usually end up making use of it almost ever. I guess it's helpful if you're having someone go. Dash is instead of combat, right? Yes, they did make a note in the combat phase that anything denoted with action, which we'll see on the card like this, with the little action in brackets, is done during the combat phase. It replaces your combat. Unless whatever action has a description that tells you something different, because the card will, whatever it says on the card will supersede whatever rules. Actions happen during the combat phase. Yes, that's originally what this video was going to be about, and then I decided that I didn't know enough and I didn't have a lot of time, so I'm going through the rules. But yes, Tabletop Sim is out now that there's more people here, and it looks so good, and we can look at things and just like, oh wait, where's Alt? And you can look at things, and it's so good. And you got the little units here. The only thing is, they have plugs as part of this that you can use. But I don't see any plugs. And I didn't see them in the bag of extra units that we have. But they have the demo, which is what was shown at the beginning, where you flip strategic objectives into bunkers and back based on who is winning or losing. Who gets to choose that. This is what we saw played on the video that was shared in the Discord, which is losing me. There's things like rolling dice. Yeah, which that's cocked. Yeah. And then drawing like cards. Yeah. Putting them in your hand. Improved assembly line. Alt is the look. Yeah, so I will be hoping to stream and do stuff on this and play with people from the community at some point. Super excited to get to that, but I don't have a lot of time today. Clock is ticking, so I decided this is what I will end up doing. Terrain. So strategic objectives. Only infantry units may move into one of these squares, and they count as trenches. Strategic objectives are a source of victory points. Bunkers. Only infantry can enter a bunker. Bunkers count as trenches and grant postal defense 1 to infantry in them. Barbed wire. Infantry can't enter squares with barbed wire. If any other unit type enters the square, remove the barbed wire. Yep, this is all new. Deck boards are now trenches. Trenches. Certain models gain additional movement when moving on trenches. That's the runner ability, and maybe we'll see something else that uses trenches in its special defense. And minefields. Any non-infantry unit moving into the square with a minefield suffers 2 attack rolls. This is one of the sad things about terrain. I really feel that, like, all units that enter a minefield should have to risk a dice roll, at least 1 dice. Like, maybe infantry do 1 dice while everything else does 2. I don't know. But, hey, what you gonna do? I guess that's for the scenario. Oh, please put it in a call out to SMG that they should offer an add-on for getting +3. Yep, I have seen that. They did say that they're looking into it. I personally would not hold your breath, but I feel that so the big thing is that the Clockwork Soldiers and the zombies, the Plague Troopers, were not a part of the original Kickstarter exclusive. They were like we're sorry there is a delay, so we added this on free for all tiers kind of deal that happened without much fanfare that we know of. Maybe there was a like an update or something that told people, but it wasn't advertised in the original Kickstarter. I'm pretty sure it was a surprise add-on towards the end due to a delay, and there was only 3 each. They were really simple. They came in a baggie. They came in a little box in a baggie. Now that there's 6, I am a fan of allowing the veterans who are returning to get at least 3 and 3. If nothing else but to destroy that eBay market. I would really like to destroy that eBay market. I'm even a person that's like, hey, they should do, 6 and 6 in the veteran model. But I also know that they have everything planned to fit in certain boxes, trying to make the boxes as small as possible. I know that you'll be getting 6 hero plugs in the veteran model for Allied and Blight. I'm for it. I will throw that out there, but that's not what this video is about. So I mean, I'm going to feel free to throw it out in this video that I do support that. But we're just waiting on them to figure out what the logistics of that would be and how that would affect the veteran tier pricing for basically 6 more models on top of all the print components that they are planning. So Clockwork units and zombies can enter bunkers and strategic objectives. Yes, they can hold them. They have a thing that says they can't. So that's a thing. They are considered infantry, though. They are considered infantry. And what I will also mention, guys, Clockwork Soldiers and Plague Troopers specifically call out that they cannot capture objectives, but they can enter them. So I'll be interested to see if they can remove an enemy's flag or not in this. My theory is no. But if those of you have been paying attention, I have been burned before. I have a friend who loves the dogs. Loves them. And the favorite thing he loves about dogs is dogs can not only enter strategic objectives, they can capture them. It is not speculated on their card anywhere that they cannot. They are considered an infantry unit, so they can enter and they can capture. So I have been burned before when a friend of mine invested in all handlers and all dogs, And I was like, whatever, dogs aren't that cool. And whooped my butt as holding on to strategic objectives when he was getting a free line of infantry every round and throwing them forward. It was tough. And I lost at least 2 games to him. Eventually, Schlitten beat all. So, eventually I got it. Actually, no, he was the blight in that one. Oh, I don't know how Eventually, I won a few when I was like, okay, he's going dogs all the time. But, let's just say that I have a little bit of a new respect for dogs in that instance. So, breakthrough. Oh, we're in scenarios. I feel like this should be its own page, but I guess they're trying to keep the number of pages down. Scenarios. Breakthrough. So this is what a scenario page is going to look like. 5 deployment points and 1 rivet. That's pretty decent for a thing. Oh, damn, that's beeping. Mission cards. Recon suite. Alright, so it'll display what the mission cards to put on the side are in the order. Special rules. Damn it, I'm going to have to go deal with that. Alright, read this for a little bit. All right. Sorry for that, and sorry for the delay. I know that it's a bit of a delay with reading the chat here. Limited area for adding plugs. Oh yeah, super limited. So looking at scoring. All right, we will revisit strategic objectives. I think I'm starting to get the hang of it, so we can revisit that. I do want to point out, I watched that video. Oh, I should really let you guys know what that video is. What was that? There we go. Jeez. The keyboard wasn't working there for 2 seconds. Here we go. It's a Kickstarter Tekken playthrough by Before You Play. Copy link address. I'll put this in my chat. Add that to your watch later list. And definitely watch that. You can also find that link. I've shared it around on like the Reddit and stuff. They did a really good playthrough, and this was the scenario they played through. And this special rule looked super cool. The player who's basically losing with the lowest amount of victory points chooses a strategic objective to replace with a bunker and replaces a different bunker with a strategic objective. So basically you can point at all these strategic... Well, I'll show you. Basically, if I was the allied player and I was losing, I could say, oh, you're earning points here. Here, let's zoom in a little bit because this is super nice. I would say, oh, you're earning points, so why don't I just flip that to a bunker now, and now you don't have a flag and you can't earn any more points. And I'm already here, so I'll just flip this one. Can I not flip it because someone's on it? Interesting. So I believe this would count as flippable. Let me do this. Yeah, there we go. For some reason, can't do it this one. But yes, you'd be able to flip one that you're on, and then, of course, at the end of your turn, be like, yeah, I captured it, I moved into it, I stayed into it, or whatever. And then all this will start to change. So when you, so this could be a very different look if you had a bunch of units out and about, you know, waiting to attack. And then suddenly you had this one over here, but all of their units are trying to hold this strategic objective. Like, you've now very much hurt them with this. So this is a very cool idea for how it works. All right, so let's talk win conditions a little bit. How was I able to... Yeah, there we go. So, first turn, you have everything locked up. You don't remove this on the first turn. The second turn, though, you'll start removing these, and you can start doing these things. So these are now replacing secret mission cards or mission cards. The scenario will tell you what order that they go in, and you'll remove them left to right. And now anyone can achieve these. So have a unit in at least 5 different no man's land tiles. So looking at that, where is it? Looking at this is all no man's land for this scenario. So this is a pretty easy mission to get for this. Can we have a card zoom in and check if there are any new stats? You are absolutely right. Yes, please. Let's do that real quick. Card zoom in. We got... Nope. We've got Alt. Panzerfaust. There they are. There are some new stats. Look for the Vert Tank, which has a increased armor type now. He's got a little bit of a buff. But Panzerfaust look decent. We don't see anything new. This unit gains +1. Yep, that's not new. Yep, still armor type 1. So let's get Mono Wheel Dragoon. Ooh, Mono Wheel Dragoon. Armor type 2, movement 3, cost 2, 1 health, chain attack, 2, 1. Pretty decent. Rapid Assault 2. So in the combat phase, they can move forward 2 squares and attack. That doesn't seem to have changed. I would need to go to the Rivet Wars wiki and check on that real quick. Schlitten is the great equalizer. Still gets 3 attacks, 3 range, 2 dice. Only attacks armor type 1. This is the Schlitten we know and love. Do take a look at that nice support unit. I am out of time, so this is going to be the last thing we do today. Is this little thing here. So I will have to print out and look at the rest of the stuff when that gets to that. But I got to eat lunch and prepare to go to work. So this is 3-in-1 Landskrieg. We got one little port there for plugs. 2 movement, 2 health. He gets 2 attacks that are chain attacks. Is that new? Is that new? Let's go to the Rivet Wars wiki. Because I worked very hard on this Rivet Wars wiki, and I'm still working to update it. So let's go to Landskrieg. And let's look at that card. Where's that card? Are you not loading? All right, let's look at this. What do you attack? 2, 3, 1. Come on. So 2, 3, 1. That hasn't changed. He gets a chain. He gets 2 attacks. All right, so that's not new. That's not new. Der Cyclops is still the mobile Schlitten. 2 attacks, 3 range, an air range, 3 dice against armor type 1. Still very good, very solid. General Beckendorf. General Beckendorf. Adds 1 land range and adds a precision. +1 to dice units while attacking. Still very good, very cool. Cost a rivet and 2 deployment points. And Jaeger Moldenstein. 3-in-1, 1 movement. Does he have runner? He does not. We have... Oh, do you see the, like, war paint he's got underneath one eye? Very nice. That's to help bring down the glare that you're getting. So he's got a range of 3. He's got an air range of 1. Sniper. Buff land range +1. Very cool. And now it's time to go to the other side. Come on down to the other side. Riflemen, as we know and love them. 1/1. That plus runner. 3 dice, 1 attack, 2 land range. Everything seems normal. We don't really see anything. Rocket cycles. 2 deployment points, 2 movement, 2 attacks. They can attack basically everything. They have an air range of 1. Very solid. Looking good. Looking very good. Hammer 65 pounder. Looking good. Land range of 4. 2/2 armor type 1. Has that blast attack now. 2/1/1. Looking good. Everything checks out there. M3 vertical tank, which now has armor type 3 instead of armor type 2. Has that blast attack. 2/2/2. Looking good. Land range of 3. So he's looking pretty decent. Hacksaw turret. 2. Land range of 2 and air range of 1. He can attack a lot more with a lot more dice. But I guess he's hampered by only having 1 attack and having that range. General G. Paxton. Jesus. An extra movement and tank shock. Get him up there and stomp some things. Awesome. And, of course, the M2 Wolverine that we've seen a lot of. Looking good. Having the air range and everything. Buffs bolster defense. The walking bunker himself. Very nice. Very nice. And that's all we have in this version of the game. It's like a demo version. To just show off. You can also read through the stuff in here. Oh, whoops. Throw that away. And you can read through the rule books if you need to. So I'm super excited. I will be coordinating in the Discord to play some games. Like I'm super excited. I want to play some games. I would love to get this. I'm gonna need to go through the rest of the rule book. How much is actually left? Round sequencing. Oh, so an easy reference to kind of get everything. And that's it. That's all we have for now. Assuming there will be a new place for scenarios so that there'll be a lot more scenarios. But yeah, that's basically it. So, I promised, I really gotta go. I promised that I would go over how capturing works one more time. So how capturing will, how it is described as working right now is you enter, and then on the start of your turn, where is some flag tokens? So on the start of your turn, you do your attacks, you do everything. You move in. You would then, if there's a flag token in there, you would remove this flag token for capturing it, supposedly. However, you don't put up your own flag token. You would then need to wait until another turn. So some stuff happens. Some people are coming for you. Oh, no. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Then, at the start of your next turn, during that control phase, you'd put in your flag token, because you have controlled it. And then at the end of the round, or at the wrap-up phase, you get points, yes. Oh, let's do the quick reference. Why don't we do that? Wrap-up phase. Capture strategic objectives. Check victory conditions. So yes, you earn points and see if the game ends. So now that you've held it a whole their turn and still have a guy inside, At the start of your turn during that, like, prep phase or whatever they called it, I really need to be better at this. Control phase. If you have someone in there, you put up your turn, and at the end of your turn during the wrap-up phase, you get a point. So now they're here. They just, I mean, I guess you would move. They're just gonna unload into this and just kill all your dudes. Awesome. They move. They move inside. They remove this. But they don't get their flag up right away. Now this is removed, and you don't get a point for that. Start of your next turn, you're in here. You'll get a point for this one. But you still have a chance to schlitten him out. And now this is just an empty strategic objective, and you have to try to move forward to get into that. So, as I said, it's got more of the feel of a tug back and forth and getting into stalemates. However, it will elongate games and not keep that quick, like quick 15 to 30 minute games. But it's still fast paced. You can still get some people in places. And then, as we talked about with this specific demo scenario, you would then be able to, I mean, this is a bunker. You'd then be able to be like, and then be like, haha, and then, you know, be in a more advantageous position towards the end. Am I allowed to move these? I am not allowed to move these. Is there a reason for that? Oh, they're locked. So I can unlock them. Yeah. So you just need to unlock these to get them to work. And that means we can customize, because guess what else is in here? You can get free-floating boards, 2x2 tile, 2x2A, and 3x3 tile. Woo! We can make our own. So, yeah, that's about it. And without further ado, guys, thanks so much for watching. This was really fun to get to do, and I'm looking forward to playing Rivet Wars with people. So I have to go eat lunch, start preparing for work, but I will be in the Discord. The official Rivet Wars, well, not the official, I'm sorry. The unofficial fan-run, where everyone is, Discord. So you'll be able to find that in a lot of places. There's a lot to think about looking over the rules. I'm going to be taking it to work and just combing through it as much as possible. But do give it a look. Do start kind of giving it a try out. Change your just normal Rivet Wars games to be these new style of securing objectives and things. Let's see how it works. Does it elongate games? Will we not even notice once things get moving? Will things start happening rather quickly? Does the having of resources for the first player on the first round really deter them? Like, will that really hurt? There's a lot of things that we can start playing around with now. Now that stuff is kind of moving on. So, all right. So I'm going to have to call that good for now. If you have Tabletop Simulator, do let me know and go in the Discord. Like I'm going to start playing with people. I might stream. I might just record to edit after this goes down. It's only up during the live campaign. It is only up during a live campaign. It is so weird. So, ooh, it auto-saves. That's weird. Interesting. Can I get rid of these? I can. I don't want to save the weird stuff. Although I guess that's nice if you're playing an elongated game and you can't finish it right away. That's kind of nice. Alright, so I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going to go ahead and end this before I keep blabbing on. So, bye.